Welcome to Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast. These are the stories of those who have received, given, and who are waiting for the gift of life, organ transplantation. Now here's your host and heart and kidney recipient, BJ Odom.
Welcome to the Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast, where we explore the extraordinary world of organ transplantation. Each week we share inspiring stories and introduce you to remarkable individuals sharing their own transplant stories. Be sure to support the podcast by leaving a 5-star review and subscribing on your preferred podcast platform. Have a transplant story to share or have comments about the podcast? Please email us, giftoflifepodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's giftoflifepodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast. This is BJ Odom, you know, the guy with more parts than a chicken nugget. My new book is filled and packed with laughs, heart, and the unbelievable true story of survival you've heard me talk about right here on The Gift of Life. Get your copy today, More Parts Than a Chicken Nugget, available on Amazon. As we welcome you to episode 107. This week we meet Johnny Boatman, a guy who did everything right. Athlete, military man, in great shape, and a registered organ donor. But life can change in an instant. What started as just another day at the gym turned into a heart attack that changed everything. Johnny went from being the one willing to give the gift of life to needing it himself. His journey through heart and kidney transplant is powerful, humbling, and incredibly inspiring. We'll meet Johnny Boatman coming up next. Hey, Johnny, I want to welcome you so much to the podcast. And if you would, why don't you start out by telling us just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, BJ, thank you so much for having me. I think this is definitely a great cause to talk about. But as you said, my name is Johnny Boatman. I now live in Virginia. I am a member of the Armed Services. I served 25 years on active duty as a logisticianist. I retired and went back to work for the federal government and continued to reside here and try to do some great things. But I was forced to retire because of some medical issues. And that's pretty much it.
And those medical issues, I got a feeling, since the name of this is The Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast, you experienced a transplant. And every story has a beginning. Thank goodness yours and mine do not have endings yet.
That is so true. That is so true.
So let's start at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. So back in 2012, I started to develop some issues physically with my bicep tendon. Didn't think much of it. I thought it was just because I played college football. It was just kind of wear and tear. As time went on, I developed a trigger finger. I didn't think much of it, but in the latter part of September of 2022, I ended up having a heart attack. Had no idea because, I lived a healthy life. I worked out. Matter of fact, when I had that heart attack, I was in the gym working out. And so I went to see a specialist, and they said, Johnny, you have an enlarged heart. And I just kind of counted it off as, hey, I was an athlete. I worked out. No big deal. Upon further testing, they realized that I had a disease, a rare disease called amyloidosis. Now, this particular disease is something that is caused from the liver producing an abnormal protein, and it hardens and it sticks to organs in the body, like the heart or the tendons or the kidneys. It could also affect your stomach. Unfortunately, the hereditary type that I had affects tendons, heart, and other organs. So that's how it all started. And the problem is that I was diagnosed in 2024. And by the time I got the official diagnosis, it was at such late stage that the only way I could live is that I had to get a heart transplant. And as a result of the poor performance of my heart all those years, I ended up developing like stage 3 kidney failure. So this was not only a one and done, but it was a two and done. I ended up needing a heart and a kidney in order for me to continue to live or have a second chance at life. And all this came out of the blue. I had no idea that I had this hereditary gene and that it affected. But when I did find out, it was ultimately too late to do any type of treatment to maintain my original organs. So that was kind of my story and how all this transpired and how I ended up having to need a heart and kidney.
I always like to ask people, too, when you learn the news that you're going to need a heart transplant and a kidney transplant, how did you feel or what emotions did you go through?
Oh, my gosh. Those feelings are still with me today. And it's been a little over a year and 3 months since I had the heart and kidney transplant. But I remember sitting in the doctor's office and he came in, he said, Johnny, I don't know how to tell you this. He said, but your heart is truly damaged to no repair. And in order for you to live, that you're going to need a heart. The floor that I was standing on fell from underneath me. My heart went from 88 beats per minute to probably 120 beats per minute. I was traumatized beyond belief. And not only was I traumatized, but my wife and I were both just floored. I mean, we just broke down and started crying right there in the doctor's office. And the doctor was so gracious and so kind and humbled that he and his nurse really comforted us. And we were in such bad shape that they were able to comfort us. They were patient. And then after we kind of got ourselves together as best we could, he proceeds to say what the next steps were and to kind of give us an idea of what the journey would look like. But yeah, it was tough. I wouldn't want anyone to ever go through something like that. It was really heart-wrenching to hear those words.
Now, I had a heart and kidney transplant, but at least I had some years in between when I don't know which would be better, if I would have gotten them both at the same time or if I had to spread them out. But that had to be quite the shock to you. Now, here's another question I'm going to ask you, because you did say you were an athlete. You worked out a lot. Now, I was sick all my life. I was sick from a childhood all the way up until I was in my upper 40s when I got my heart transplant. And to me, it was kind of like, okay, I need this because I've had other surgeries along the way, starting at 22 months old. So my question to you, and I think sometimes it's tougher for people who have led normal lives and athletic lives to all of a sudden just go like you were told you're going to need a heart. And that has to be, really rough on someone like you said it was. Do you think it's harder if you grow up with sickness, or if all of a sudden everything is great in your life and boom, it's like hitting a wall?
Yeah, I think, when you're sick and doctors are, kind of mentoring you along the way, you kind of have an expectation. For instance, if you have a heart issue that they've been working on, you kind of have an expectation that, okay, that, this may be an issue. But for me, it was kind of out of the blue. And the last thing that I thought would fail in my body would be my heart. Now, I knew I had some renal issues because of the creatine levels or the creatinine levels, but I knew I had some issues there and I thought they could be worked out. But the last thing that I would have thought, at this stage of my life, and being healthy all my life. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've been in the hospital prior to having my heart attack. And prior to that, I was doing great. So I think for me, this happening all at once, not having any knowledge of it happening, I just thought that I was going to be healthy until I got hit by a bus or something. Never thought that it would be organ failure or something to that effect. But it is a journey. It is something that I still struggle with today in regards to, because it's still brand new for me. I mean, we're talking September, because I ended up having a heart and kidney transplant in December of 24. So it'll be 2 years come this December. So this is still real brand new for me, BJ, because it just, it's just trying to adjust to a new life and not expecting it, just knowing that I'm going to be, healthy